By hiring an organizer on the smaller projects, you're getting the skills, the personalized, that's a key word, personalized skills that you need. It could be something very, very small. Those are the things that we often put off and we don't tackle and we don't address right away. Now, you will feel an immense amount of weight once those things are tackled, handled, and managed. You're going to feel, gosh, I feel so much better. You're going to realize that the mental clarity that comes along with that, the sigh of relief, the stress that's lifted off of your shoulders is going to far outweigh that initial.
Welcome to Spaces Organized and Styled, the podcast, where we dive in deeper, not just into organizing our things, but the emotions that go along with them. I'm Caitlin Adkins, your host, life coach, professional organizer, NLP practitioner, and EFT practitioner. If you want to remove the roadblocks that are keeping you from reaching your desired goals, success, and fulfillment, then you are in the right spot. Thank you so much for joining me, and now let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me in another podcast episode. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I encourage you, if you wish, if you're not driving, to take a pause, come over, check me out. I am recording this, so this should also be video recording this. This should be up on the website, the blog, as well as YouTube. If you want to come and chat with me, see how everything is going, so I encourage you to go ahead and take a pause and come do that. I kind of teased a little bit in the last episode that there was a project that I sort of wanted to share on, and it sort of sparked an idea for a podcast episode. Also, full disclosure, I am tweaking and working and redoing my audio, so I am recording these through my AirPods. The microphone, it was working really well, and then all of a sudden it stopped. I noticed in the last episode, or a couple episodes back, that the audio just sounded really awful. So I am tweaking my own audio. So if this is sounding a little off, I apologize. That is why. And just bear with me as I figure out a new setup for how I want to record these. Okay, today I want to talk about what I teased with you guys last week, which is all about, should you hire a professional organizer for your, quote, smaller projects? Now, this idea came to me from a client that I recently worked with. She had called me up to just do a very simple pantry organization. That's what she called. She was like, it'll probably take you a few hours. She's like, it may not even be worth your time. And I said, okay, well, let me come and check it out. We'll see what this is all about. The way that we do the business is that after speaking with the client on the phone, after getting an idea, like an outline of what the project actually is, then we schedule a time to walk this space. Immediately, as I'm talking with the client, I am forming an image or a mental picture about what they're telling me their space looks like. It's funny, once you get into the home, it could be something totally different. They could be on the phone. I've had clients before calling me. They're like, my house is so disorganized. My pantry is all over the place. My closet, my office. And then I get there and I'm like, okay, a little bit different than what I had in my head. Or it could be the total opposite way. They could be like, yeah, I'm really disorganized. And then I get there and I'm like, whoa, okay, this is a little bit more intense about what I was thinking. So it's very, very, very important that before the work actually begins, that we actually get a good idea about what the space looks like. It's also funny that once we get into the home, there could be other things that I am seeing because I'm a fresh set of eyes that they have completely glossed over for years. So there could be boxes in the corner. I've actually had a water closet, like where the hot water heater was, and plumbing, and a file cabinet of files. And I've pointed it out. The client's like, oh my gosh, I had forgotten that was even there. They walked past it every day and they'd forgotten that it was there because it's just not something that is kind of just fades into the background of our lives and we don't really realize it. So having a professional organizer come in for the, quote, smaller jobs is also going to help you really see things in a new light because they're going to be a fresh set of eyes where it's not the same as a family or a friend coming in because they're not going to tell you, they're not going to point out those things like, hey, what's that stack of paperwork doing over there? Or why do you have that collection of stuff right there on your table, or whatever it may be, or stuck into the back of a closet? Where a professional organizer should be asking you about that, should be probing you a little bit more, being like, hey, what's in this box? Hey, what is this going on over here? So, we're going to come in with a fresh set of eyes that nobody else is really going to ask you about. So that's going to be the first thing. The second thing about having the organizer in the house, that's just for the assessment. Having the organizer come out to do those, quote, smaller jobs. For example, this particular one was a pantry. This individual had mobility issues and limitations to where they were not able to do the job themselves, which is absolutely fine. Not only that, but it's a bulk of the work is working with clients and individuals who have mobility issues or limitations, or they're just unable to physically do the work itself, which is exactly why a professional organizer is who you need to be holding, because they have not only the insight on how it needs to be done, but they have the physical labor component as well, whether that's the organizer themselves or a subcontractor that they have a trade agreement with that they are working with. Your organizer should have contacts for everything as well as manual labor. So for this client, again, it was a pantry, very simple. We did the assessment. It was pretty close to what I had envisioned in my mind about what this was going to do or take, the scope of the project. It's also important that when an organizer is in the home that they're asking, is there anything else in the home that needs to be incorporated into this space? Not so much the pantry, but this is more of like a bedroom or an office. Offices are big. You'll often find a home office is there's paperwork or items for the home office, other areas of the home that need to be incorporated in there. So having an organizer come in, they should be asking, is there anything else that needs to be added to the space so that we can accurately plan how long it's going to take and what all is involved. Having said that, going back out to do the actual job of it, it did not take that long. She was correct. This was a very, quote, simple, easy, small job. What a small job allowed her, though, is a few things. One, it allowed her time back because she wasn't the one doing it. It also provided her with skill sets. So going in there and organizing the pantry, while it was very simple and small, it gave her organizational skills that she can then transfer to any area of the home. Organizing is it's a fairly straightforward process. While everybody's method is absolutely going to be different, the skills that you use to organize one area of the home or one item is going to be pretty much standard throughout the entire house, whether that be with baskets, labels, containers. If you're somebody who's very into the aesthetics, so that could be color organization, it could be alphabetizing, whatever that may be, that's going to transfer to another area. By hiring an organizer on the smaller projects, you're getting the skills, the personalized, that's a key word, personalized skills that you need to then be able to organize other areas of your house or to tweak things. Maybe you didn't hire an organizer for the files, but now you're like, gosh, organizing something in the house with the organizer has now kind of triggered something else that I want to organize. Another part of it is so sparking new ideas, limitations, the small tasks, the quote small things, the small projects that we're pushing and kicking down the line that you maybe don't think are worthy of hiring an organizer for. Those are the things that you probably actually do need to hire a professional organizer for, because we often don't tackle the very small stuff because we think, gosh, it's not big, it's a bit of an annoyance, it's an inconvenience, it but it's not overwhelming, it's not taking over my house, it's not walking in and things are falling on top of you. It could be something very, very small. Those are the things that we often put off and we don't tackle and we don't address right away. Now, that being said, you will feel an immense amount of weight once those things are tackled, handled, and managed. You're going to feel, gosh, I feel so much better. You're going to realize that the mental clarity that comes along with that, the sigh of relief, the stress that's lifted off of your shoulders is going to far outweigh that initial, I shouldn't hire a professional organizer for this because it's not that big of a deal. So that's going to be, another reason is that you're going to address those things that you often don't think about. And last and finally is the long-term benefits. So hiring a professional organizer for the small things, think about the long-term benefits that it's going to give you, not just for yourself, but your family or friends that are entering into your home. How is this going to impact everybody else that comes in contact with that space? And maybe it is just you. And I absolutely love that when I get somebody who says, I just want to treat myself. I just want to do this for me. I'm like, yes, this is amazing because they have clicked with the idea that an organized space is an organized mind, is an organized life, is an organized, etc., etc., etc. I find that to be just absolutely wonderful. So those are a few ways that if you're kind of toying with the idea of like, gosh, I really do need to get organized in my linen closet, but it's not worth it. It's not a whole project. Reach out to your organizers. See who's in the area that can do an hourly rate. maybe it's not something that you need a full package for. Maybe it's not the entire home, but it is still something that, every time. There was a book that I was reading not too long ago, and it did talk about tackling those little inconveniences in our lives and how when we allow those little inconveniences to build up, so that could be something as like your light bulb just doesn't turn on in your refrigerator, and you're like, yeah, that's annoying, but it's also not that big of a deal. Or I'm trying to think like what else. It could be like a wheel on something that just is sticking. It could be anything that's just small that is annoying, but you're not going to tackle it. You're not going to address it. You're not going to get it done. All of those tiny little things add up, and you have no idea how much added stress comes into our lives when the door doesn't open properly, or you've got to like jiggle the handle. And that's like the way that you start your day. You start your day with like, I can't do something, or like there is a hurdle to overcome. And then what you realize is that by tackling those things that are building up, it's actually building momentum for the rest of your day. So if you start your day with an annoyance or a problem, and then you're like, gosh, it's so small, but I'm going to address it. I'll address it later. And then you go and do something else. And then there's making your coffee. The coffee maker doesn't go properly. And then you go to get your milk and the light doesn't turn on the refrigerator. And then you go to get a spoon or a coffee mug and the dishwasher hasn't been run properly or whatever. All of these different things that sort of add up over the day. They collect and you don't realize because they're so small just how much they're impacting your day. So I definitely encourage you guys, do not discount the small projects. While we love a whole home organization, while that is an amazing job to have, it's not always what's needed or required or necessary. Sometimes it is just a very small thing. And I encourage you guys to reach out to your organizers and just have a chat, just to see, is this something that you guys can do? Is this something that you can help me with? I'm just struggling in this one area. What you often find is that the insights that you get from that one project carry over into other things that you're like, gosh, that was so easy. Now I want to go do something else. Now either you're going to have the momentum to go do it, or you're going to love your organizer so much that you're going to have them come and help something else. So it's definitely worth it. Take a look at your home, see what's annoying you, see what's cluttered, something small, and just get it done. You're going to feel so much better about yourself. All right, I will catch you guys in the next episode.
Hey, did you enjoy today's episode and want to learn more? Come hang out with me on Instagram at Spaces Organized Styled, or dive into one of my courses to really learn how to get organized and stay organized for good. Now, I would greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter so you are the first to know when the next episode comes out. See you soon!